We're still talking cricket on the SportsMax zone. West Indies captain Craig Brathwaite fell 6 runs short of an 11th Test 100 as the West Indies were bowled out for 265 on day 2 of the first Test against Bangladesh at the North Sound ground in Antigua. Brathwaite's deputy, Jermaine Blackwood, added 63 from 139 deliveries for the Windies to lead at the close of play by 162. Mahidi Hassan picked up 4 wickets for the Tigers. At stumps, Bangladesh were 50 for 2, with Tamim Iqbal top scoring so far with 22. Pacer Alzari Joseph picking up both wickets so far. Lennox Aldred, a veteran journalist, to assess what happened today in Antigua. Lenny, let me start here. The West Indies in a commanding position, but there are views that their batting total wasn't as high as it needed to be.
Well, for sure, Lance, the West Indies should have really batted once in this Test match. There's no way you can be 159 for 3 at lunch and then you're all out. I mean, you were 265 all out, and then at tea you were 231 for 6 as well. They really should have put over 350 runs on the board here and just bat once and bat Bangladesh out of this Test match. But they still give them a sniff. At the end of the day, Craig Brathwaite, he batted well, but he really should have gotten 100 as well. You can't be batting 268 balls in Test cricket and not getting a century. I mean, it was a good effort, but he really should have pushed on. Blackwood also played well, and young Moti coming down the order there and getting some runs as well. So it was an okay performance, but this is the type of performance that we want the West Indies to really rivet home, put a lot of runs on the board, and really bat Bangladesh out of the Test. Yeah.
So having said that, Lenny, your assessment of the Bangladesh bowling today and the batting dismissals for the West Indies, credit to the bowlers or batsmen give their hands away?
I thought Mehdi Hassan actually bowled well. He bowled some really good off spin towards the back end because the wicket is still doing a lot. And at the end of the day, once you put the ball in the right areas, you will get wickets. He had that drifter going, and a lot of the West Indies batsmen couldn't really pick that, and hence he picked up some wickets. So at the end of the day, if Moti should be looking at that and say, hey, if their spinner can get 4 wickets, then I may be able to get some wickets. That's if Roach and all the guys don't clean up. But I think that the West Indies bowlers have to be disciplined come tomorrow, and they really have to try and get these wickets early, because anything over 200, I think, may be an issue for the West Indies, possibly.
Yeah, you mentioned Gurukesh Moti, 23 not out. Primarily, of course, a spinner, but we did see him score 100 in the first-class match against Barbados last month. Barbados bowling attack that included Roston Chase and Jamil Warrican and Keon Harding, I think. How much do you rate his batting, and how much, if you were thinking future, can this be a player that can contribute some good runs for the West Indies at the tail?
Well, he's showing that he's confident, and I think that Jermaine Blackwood also allowed him to come in and just play his shots. He's a debutant, but he didn't look like a debutant, actually. He was stroking the ball all over the park. I think he should have come ahead of Roach and Alzari Joseph, because he has a regional first-class century. But at the end of the day, he looks the part. Maybe he could, down the line, come good as a genuine all-rounder. But he needs to get some wickets as well, because if he doesn't get wickets in this Test match, maybe he won't get another game. So remember, he's playing as a bowler primarily, so he has to get wickets in the second innings.
Yeah, Lenny, I still have a gripe about the batting overall from both teams, and of course, especially the West Indies. I was just looking at the 2 completed innings we've seen so far from the teams, and of course, this one that Bangladesh is partway through now. And I'm stunned, Lenny, by the number of batsmen who have failed to score their runs at more than a strike at a strike rate greater than 50. Only 2 in the Bangladesh first innings, that Tamim Iqbal, 29 of 43 balls, a 67 strike rate, and Shakib Al Hassan, 51 of 67, 76. For the West Indies, the only batsman in the entire West Indies innings, Lenny, who scored at a strike rate above 50 was Gurukesh Moti, 23 of 21 balls. When I compare this to the recent Test series between England and New Zealand in England, all of the top order batsmen in both teams are scoring their runs at more than 50. And when you do that, it sets up so many possibilities for you, especially if you're the home team, setting your stall out, and the path to victory becomes more clear if you're scoring your runs at a fair rate. And I'm saying if we're struggling here, I'm not getting much reason to be optimistic about what we can do against better teams and even against this Bangladeshi team in this series.
I agree with you totally, George, but we must be fair. It's not the greatest of wickets to really be playing strokes.
I was going to ask you that as well.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, this is what they call a grafter's wicket. It's not a shot player's wicket. You have to, it's like Shivnara and Chandapal will love this kind of wicket. You know, you work the ball around and you get some runs.
What about the other Chandapal?
I mean, John Campbell didn't do so well at the top of the inning, so maybe he'll be in for a game. So let's see. But this is a wicket where you have to be patient. But I mean, I think that some of the balls that I saw Craig Brathwaite really pushing at, he could advance down the pitch and stroke it and get some runs. But I mean, he got 94. I mean, some people say that they'll take that, but he really should have pressed on and got a bigger score and given the West Indies a bigger total as well.
Like myself, Lenny, are you impressed every time you see Jaden Seals bowl?
It's a good seaman. He's learning his craft, actually. And he'll get better services to bowl. And I'd really love to see him down in Australia, Perth and those places. You know, a nice surface for him to really extract some bounce and some pace. But I think that he's level-headed enough and he's doing quite well at this level so far. I hope he doesn't get ahead of himself. But he has Kemar Roach there to learn off, so I think he'll definitely progress.
Yeah, all right, Lenny, great talking to you there, and I agree that young Seals is looking to have some promise, getting a lot of movement off the pitch and so on, and let's hope he continues to improve his tools and become more effective. Quickly, we're moving on to some women's cricket now because the CG Insurance Super 50 Cup is continuing in Guyana. Trinidad and Tobago cruising to an 8-wicket win over the Leeward Islands in match 2 of the tournament. Batting first, the Leeward Islands were restricted to 132 for 8 of their 50 overs. Shawnisha Hector top scored with 46. Rosa Liebert unbeaten on 31. Corbina Alexander was the pick of the bowlers for the TNT team with 3 for 20, and in reply the Trinis ended on 135 for 2 in 35 overs. Bernice Boyce led the chase with 35, while Chanel Lord was left unbeaten on 30. So Trinidad and Tobago getting a good result here against Leeward's women and the TNT women. After a bit of a disappointing showing, George, in the T20 tournament, which ended earlier this week, having a good start in the Super 50.
Yeah, they would have been motivated by that, I'm sure. Some harsh words would have been exchanged inside the dressing room, and I'm sure they would have been told to a woman that you are better than this, you are better than what you showed in the T20, and that motivation evident in what they have been doing, what they've done in this 50-over competition so far. Again, there are so many opportunities at stake for the women who do well in this tournament that I don't think motivation should be in short supply for TNT or any of the other teams for that matter.
So they won by 8 wickets today, TNT, with 90 balls to spare. So that's as handsome a victory as you could ask for. We go to break. When we return, I think we have our second zone updates to come.